Waiting.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
You on drugs?
All rise and like, subscribe, and bang the gavel, baby.
Bang the gavel, baby. It's a Friday. I know what you're saying, Mikey. You're a couple minutes early, but you know what? That's okay. That's just more of me you're going to get today. This is harassment court. I paused it for just a second because he's about to let these two young ladies start discussing their case. If this is your first time here, we got a case live Zoom court from across the country as it happens. So, yeah, sit tight. Try and keep our talking to a minimum, and let's find out what these two young ladies are upset about.
And so, Ms. Wilson, I read over your petition, but if you'd just like to walk me through it, you're certainly welcome to do that, or tell me anything else that you think is important for me to know.
Well, what led up to this, I was dating her ex-boyfriend. She has a child with him. She's mad that the kid was around me. He would bring her around, and she has a problem with that, but I feel like that's not the problem with me. That's the problem with him. But me and him we were in the middle of breaking up, and he let her in my home, and she like trashed my things. She came looking for me, trying to fight me or something. And I was at work. They trashed my stuff. They stole things. She's posted things she took out of my house on social media. She's posted things referencing her bleaching my eyes and hitting me with a car. She's been harassing me since like November. I had proof on my phone, but my ex broke it when we were fighting. And I'm getting I have a temporary protection order against him as well. I have court for that next week, but I came home from work and everything was trashed. That was the last straw. Like bleach was thrown on my clothes. There was ashes everywhere, food in my carpet, things stolen. I have a renter's insurance, so I filed a claim with that, and I'm not done adding up my losses and damages, but right now it's at $4,000 so far.
Good grief.
And I'm just tired of being harassed by her. Like, she sends me messages all the time. She messaged me on Instagram. She sent me pictures of my mom's house with our cars out front. And she's like, you already know what's happened. She's like, you've seen what's happened, things like that. So I'm just tired of it. I don't want to have to deal with it anymore. Me blocking her isn't enough.
He may show up for We Gotta Chase. May.
She said she's been harassing you since October. I think in your petition you said you've been getting nasty messages, mean comments, threats, and more. Has that been directly to you? And could you give me like an example?
She said, she texted me one day at work. It was back in February. And she was like, bitch, I'm going to drag you to Portland, to the streets where you belong, and beat your ass, things like that. I didn't even know they were fighting. I was at work, and that me and him were in a good place at the time. She texted me my phone because she had my number, because his phone broke at one point. So he was using that to talk to his daughter. And I just got that random text while I was at work. Threw me. I was like, I didn't know anything about it, but she's just sent it. I get home and I'm like, what's this about?
All right, so let's stop right there real quick. The guy, good for him. He's got two very nice looking women fighting over him like he was Ricky or something. Am I understanding correctly? Then when she broke up with him, he went back to his ex, and then they came to her house and trashed her house? Are they in high school? I mean, this makes no sense why he would let her in there. He needs to be sued as well if he's letting her in the house. Just as bad, right?
And then the pictures, let me just see here. I think I saw.
We've got some pictures. I'd love to see those. Jeanette, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, that was the aftermath of my apartment. And then there's some of the text messages that are the DM she sent me, and some of the ones between me and him saying that it was her.
Oh, is that where it says I told you my mom saw her?
Oh, she slashed my tire. So
Oh,
that was at the beginning of April. I had a rental car. She slashed the tire to my car, and his stepmom seen her.
Good to see you,
His
Rick.
stepmom didn't want to get involved because she's like, I don't want to get involved and not be able to see my grandchild. So I couldn't do anything about that. But like,
He just told that little kid to shut up.
and you said you saw pictures of the respondent posted some pictures of, I think you said of some clothes that they've been taken.
Yeah, she took some of the kids' clothes that I bought and she posted on her Instagram. Her daughter's wearing an outfit I paid for that was taken out of my home on the 14th. And before I got the anti-harassment order, she had messaged me on Instagram and I referenced those photos. I was like, oh, cute fit. I bought that for Nova. She's like, good. You should spend your money on her.
Wow. What a she.
Were those messages in your petition?
They might not be, but I can
Angela,
add
appreciate
them to
it.
the file.
Thank you so much.
And there was one where I'm just looking through what was attached to your petition. There's a picture of looks like a car, a BMW taken from inside another car. And there's a message on Instagram that says, what's up? What you driving by my house for? You not slick.
Oh yeah, I drove by her house once to see what her address was so I could get it for the anti-harassment order because I knew what her house was. And then so she took that as she took a picture of my, like, he told her where I lived. She found out where my mom lived. She didn't know before. And she sent pictures of the cars and she was like, you've seen what happened before. Like, I'll take a few stops by your house if you take some by mine. I was just trying to get her address.
Yeah, I saw it and I'm glad I didn't get up because it ended very anticlimactic.
Is there anybody else that you would have known that would have broken into your apartment?
I don't have problems with literally anyone else except her.
You said the door was unlocked when you got there.
Yeah. So what had happened is my ex-boyfriend didn't have a key to the house. I had a roommate who was friends with him, and the roommate gave him keys to get into the house to trash my apartment. I made a phone call to the police letting him know. He said he was on his way and he had a key and he was coming to cause a scene and like wreak havoc. But they're like, we can't do anything if he has a key and he comes in and he's not doing anything bad. So he came, he was acting civil. The officer said I couldn't do anything. I had to go to work. So I go to work. He says he's just getting his things and leaving. So I was like, all right. And then I come home and it's trash. She said it was her. She came looking for me because she was mad. And yeah.
So your roommate told you it was him, it was her.
Oh, no, my
roommate out.
Your ex. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He just come right out and said it was. Okay. Well.
Anything else you wanted to add?
Just that I know that there was things stolen. My ex took one of them, but all the other things, like were a pair of shoes, there was the baby clothes, there was a game console taken that I'm pretty sure it was her.
A game console? Like what?
And was there any kind of follow-up from the police about this?
Yeah, I have a police report
Dallas,
like going and they've been adding to it. Like they added this stuff and they said, depending on what happens, we could use some of this stuff and add to the police report too. But they said, since there isn't like her on video taking anything, that they couldn't do much about that. But since she had posted pictures with the stolen property, they might be able to get something going for that.
Okay. All right. And then Ms. Carter, anything you'd like to say in response to all that?
Yeah, I would like to add, the morning of the 14th, I had went to Norman. That's where Norman lived too. And Norman was supposed to be taking his daughter that morning. And so I went to drop her off. I knocked on the door. Norman answered, and they had been fighting because it's always a toxic fighting relationship. And so I decided, no, I'm not leaving my daughter with here. Like here, the house was a mess. And so I was like, I'm just going to leave. I didn't end up taking my daughter and dropping her off there. I ended up bringing her back home. I had my daughter in the car with me. She came to the door with me when I knocked on the door. I never thrashed it or did anything like that. The morning I was there that she said that I slashed her tires again was a time that I was supposed to be dropping off my daughter. I went and knocked on the door, and that time nobody was there. Nobody answered the door. And so I seen Gwen, Norman's mom, and I went up to her door and I said, hi, have you seen Norman? I'm looking for him. Nova's supposed to be with her dad today. And she said, that's why I'm here too. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And so I again got in my car and left. I don't know if there was issues between her and Norman and whatever that is, but both times I was there to drop off my kid, and I had my daughter with me.
For the 14th incident, Norman did not say anything to me about the child being present. He said she came in pounding on the door like the police, and that's why he answered without looking through the people to see who it was, and that she came barging through, pushing through, ran through the room, yelling, cursing, started grabbing bleach. He told me she threw bleach on him, on my clothes, on my shoes, in my drawers, all types of stuff.
Another thing, when she said she drove past my house, as you've
that?
seen, I did text her on Instagram and I asked her why she was driving past my house. That was not the first time she has driven past my house. She actually did it 2 times in one day.
Is that against the law?
And I've known where she has lived for my whole life. I've lived in the same neighborhood as her forever. I know her brother. Norman has told me where she lived before they were even together, when me and Norman first got together. So I've always known where she's lived. And her mom has lived. Wasn't new information to me. And Delaney has always, or not always, but since she started dating Norman, known where I live.
I didn't know she knew where I live. Because we moved into this house recently. We've only been here a few years. So she's saying she's friends with my brother. My brother, who she's friends with, is in prison and hasn't even been to this house.
Let's see, Ms. Carter, did you have you sent her any like text messages since, I think she said since October you've been sending her messages?
No, the messages there is no messages, because the phone that she said that Norman broke was his phone at the time. And so all of my messages I was texting my daughter's dad. I never directly text her. If I did, there would probably be messages on her phone. The messages that I did message her are on Instagram. And I was asking her why was she driving past my house. She sent a picture of my house to me, but ended up unsending the picture right after. And so yeah. But there was a picture sent to me of my house as well.
You haven't sent me nasty messages threatening to beat my ass or drag me to Portland to the crackheads or
I don't want to talk to you, Delaney.
I had literal proof in my phone. He broke it. I have the phone in my car too, because he smashed it. I'm waiting to get it replaced. And I tried asking T-Mobile if they could pull up the messages, but they said they didn't allow that personal information on their computer. So I didn't know how to pull those up for court, but there has been those. I showed my mom them. My friends have seen them. He's seen them. She's threatened me to him too.
Okay. Well, Norman needs to get in here and talk.
Never once have I threatened her.
All this Norman hearsay.
It's not that deep. I don't care to I'm not worried that much.
She don't scare me, Judge.
Put my hands on people.
I don't put my hands on people. I pull pew-pews.
On the 16th.
And what was?
That was when she messaged me on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. They just want to have fun and get their old 6 fingers out.
And then Ms. Carter, what's anything else you wanted to add?
Give them a big wiggle.
I just wanted to add, basically, I would not like this protection order under my, in my records. I want nothing to do with her at all.
Obviously.
We've never even met in person. I just want to wash my hands of this whole situation, especially because they're not together anymore, and she doesn't need to be in my life at all. So I really just want nothing to do with the situation or her, and I just want to be able to go on about my life.
I would like to have this just because she's been harassing me since November. I was gathering up evidence, and then he smashed my phone when we were fighting. And it wasn't his phone he broke. He smashed my purple iPhone, and I have the picture attached to either her.
Can we see some of the pictures, Judge?
His protection order. I had all the evidence on there, and he got mad and smashed it.
Yes, it's under Creedence and Mikey show. Feel free to go over there and threaten me all you like. Very petty. I want to see these pictures though. I mean, who else would have done these things to her with the slashing of the tires and
Hold on, Gordy.
hold on, sweet
Come here.
baby.
Come here, sis.
Come here. It's okay.
I also
sweet
don't think
baby.
she's over it because someone sent my mom a photo I made a police report about it and they're adding it to the file. She posted on Instagram on Tuesday the 26th. She said she was texting someone and the person was like, why don't you bleach your eye sockets out? She goes, nigga, I tried. Bitch kept ducking me. The guy goes,
Whoa!
murk a bitch. She goes, period. And then he goes, hit a bitch with the car. She goes, you're not supposed to be hyping up my unstable activities, but I fuck with you for that. And she posted, you're supposed to be telling me no. Instead, he want to throw ideas around. So I feel like she's not over it, even though I'm not with her child's father anymore.
No,
Hold on,
she
baby.
is definitely not over it. Look at that look on her face.
Hold on.
I just didn't know how to add these documents to the protection order. Since I had it, I was just like, can I add it at court? But I did file. It's added to the police report for the 14th.
Babaluya. 2 big bones. You guys are awesome. Thanks for everybody who's been nice enough to send over some donors today and all week. You guys have been great.
Right. Well, let's see. So I guess I'll just be honest, I'm kind of on the fence about it, not because I think it's certainly possible that Miss Carter did this to your house. She's denying it, but I certainly think it's possible, especially since your ex said that she did it. I guess my other thought is I mean, I don't know that he would have done it, but I guess that's a possibility too.
I think my PlayStation 5 console was stolen. He admitted to taking it. He still has it.
Oh,
But he said she
wow.
did everything else. He was trying to get her out the house.
Oh, I see.
PS5.
I guess maybe a joint kind of
Scoundrel.
venture.
Yeah, that's why I took one out against both of them.
Okay, well, for this is not necessarily the case for the other order you have or the other petition you have, but for an anti-harassment protection order here, it would have to be, you have to have a course of conduct. It has to be proven by preponderance of the evidence. So basically a series of events. Doesn't have to be a lot of things, but some series of events. And I'm just not going to find that it's more likely than not that she's the one committing all these things.
He's
I
getting
think it's
there,
certainly
Ian.
possible, and I don't think that you're wrong in filing this. I'm just not so convinced that I'm comfortable entering a protection order.
Damn.
But what
I
if
think
something
maybe
happens and I did all of this? Because I've been working with the police and they're like, just get an anti-harassment order because then she can't do all this. You can't be getting
Yeah, he's
these
laying low.
messages, these threats, her coming to your house and doing this stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to dismiss the petition, not because I'm unconcerned about what you're saying, but because I just don't think the burden of proof has been met. That being said, though, if you have any kind of contact from Ms. Carter again, I mean, first of all, Ms. Carter is squarely on notice that you don't want to have any contact from her. So if you do have any contact from her again, you could file another petition. Just refer to this action.
Norman
that
is
you
a
filed.
huge turd.
And I mean, I can't make any guarantees, of course, but the result would likely be different. So, Ms. Card, you understand that Ms. Wilson doesn't want to have any contact from you at all.
I don't.
Yeah.
He won't go to the doctor.
Okay. So we'll leave it at that. And then, Ms. Wilson, you do have the right to appeal if you'd like to do that. You can check with
Lady
District Court
Fang, good to see
Administration. They can tell you how that process works. For your other case, I mean, that's a whole separate issue. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's between you and I think it's in Superior Court.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I don't think we've heard the last of
Okay,
this.
so we'll send a copy of this at the dismissal to both parties, and I think we can email that to you if that's best, or we can mail you a copy, whichever you prefer.
Can you do both, please?
We could do that.
Hey, Lynn.
Let me make sure I've got your email address. Do we have her email?
Yeah, I seen it.
So we have
It
Ms.
was all right.
Wilson's email. So we'll email and we'll mail you a copy, Ms. Wilson. And Ms. Carter, looks like we don't have your email
Boom
address, so
indeed.
we can just mail you a copy, or if you want to provide your email to us, that's fine too, whichever.
For the mail is fine, thank you.
Okay. And is your address, I won't read the whole thing, but does it start with 5302?
Yes.
All right, we'll mail that to you, and that's it. Thank you.
Mary
both.
Lou getting better.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Glenn.
She's sick. She looks like she's about to cry.
Wow. She'd have her phone cut off. She started talking shit about that woman. She's about to cry. Wow. What? What a dummy. Why would you ever start just saying stuff like that? This is true. Creed will not go down there. And now heading to good old John Longley, former porn star, coming into the room. Very former. Hey man, I won some money finally gambling on my free dollar.
No, I'm okay.
I got my free dollar all the way up
Looks
to
like we have both
160.
parties, I think. Yeah, we got both parties and both attorneys.
These two.
Mr. Flay and Ms. Jocelyn are both connected.
She's sick too.
Morning,
They're
Your
all
Honor.
sick.
Morning.
Everybody, top to
Morning.
bottom, are sick.
And let's see, Mr. Flay, I saw that
Mavis.
I think you fairly recently filed your NOA, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor. We filed it. Excuse me. Let me check the date, but I believe it was filed on the 27th, or at least
Okay.
that's the date I have. So
Okay, I see that. That's in there. All right. And the reason I asked is, are the parties intending to proceed today, or
That
would one of the
sucks.
parties be asking for a continuance at this point?
Your Honor, we'd be asking for a continuance. I spoke with opposing counsel. I believe we're both in agreement for that. We just need to ask for it on the record today.
Sure, that's fine. And sorry, I didn't.
A continuance.
Sorry, I made you wait for that. Let's see. So we can do, by the way, if you ever have an agreed continuance, if you just want to send my JA email or something, you just let her know and we can get you out of here.
That's it. He's laying
Okay,
low to
thank you, Your Honor.
Katina.
For future reference, but let's see. So how far out did you want to set it?
I think
Okay.
2 weeks would be fine, Your Honor.
Let me see. So it looks like, would the 13th work for everybody?
Fine, Your Honor.
Let me just check and see
Yes,
how long the list is. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. Okay.
Here.
Hopefully it doesn't get, there's 1, 2, 3,
Look at his
there's
hair.
about 6 on, but that's not too bad. So hopefully it doesn't get too much busier than that. So we'll set it for the 13th then, and that'll be at 9 o'clock.
Perfect.
And I think there is a temporary order, so at least just for now, I'll extend that temporary order. out
Jeanette's
until
finally
the
got
hearing
peace over
date.
there on the Facebook. Thank you, Jeanette, for your hard
And,
work over there.
Anything else that we need to address today?
On
No, Your Honor.
Chumba. I know it's
Not
not a
this time,
popular place, but that's
All
where
right,
I
very
play
good.
my
So we'll
lucky
talk to you
dollar
on the
every day.
13th at 9 o'clock then.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Shit. Go on, John. Get on out of here.
And then here,
John, come on, cut it off.
kick you out here, Mr. Longley. Right
Oh,
here.
thank you.
Sure.
I'd love to hear what
Okay,
Mr.
so
Longley
we've
did.
got lastly Danielle Tustison and Christina Core. That
Tustison.
is house number ending in 9-2. Neither party's
Woo!
present. It's either a
I will
service or a
golfer.
temporary
Got
order.
big plans.
That'll be dismissed.
I don't know what he has. He said everybody's
And
sick.
if you'd like to
All of them.
terminate the-
His mother, his father, his wife is now sick. He's deathly ill. Oh, is that it? Oh, Judge, you did us wrong. You did us wrong. Jump over to Judge Cedric.
Help you guys.
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Your Honor, based on my client's books and records, the current rent to retain is $3,808.33. There's cost owed of $155 for a total of $3,963.33.
Really nice hair.
We would request that a judgment of possession enter for that amount and that an order of eviction issue after May 9th if that amount is not paid.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount in the amount requested with writ issue in 10 days.
Wow.
The Hamptons of Clover Lane versus Roger Bryant.
Come on down.
Daniel Landman for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Roger Bryant.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Okay, and this is.
Oh, Roger.
The Sarah case, I think.
Yes, I have it as a Sarah case. Aaron,
You're right now, Your Honor. Cases with Hawk, with Jennifer. Looks like she's working on worksheets. She was working on the pledge just a few days ago.
All right. I can do the 13th or the 20th, Mr. Landman.
I hate
13th should be fine, Your Honor.
All right, May 13th.
boring tenant stuff.
2002, 9 a.m.
We're going to jump
Thank
over
you.
and check this out. See
We'll
what's
set
going
it
on
out
here.
another 2 weeks. Laura will email that date. But for now, hang on, Mr. Allison. I need you to go in with the court liaison officer to figure out what you need to do, okay?
And Judge, for just so Laura knows, I have a vacation letter in from the 16th to the 26th.
Okay. Laura
Yeah, I saw that
usually
foot.
looks at it, so we'll make sure.
I'm
to
sure.
get
Foot
it
was
out
weird, right?
Thank you.
One time I don't mention it, it'll be the time. You know that.
That's true.
Is this one going? Oh my God. Back to Judge Cedric. Yet again.
Days. You understand that, man?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Do
Here
me
we
any
go.
favors today.
All right.
here.
Thank you. I'll mark this conditionally ordered. This file is conditionally dismissed. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Court calls the case of
You don't have
Northfield
to pay no
Crossing
rent.
versus Ashley King and Corey Tackett.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right.
Daniel Landman for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
All right, I had this as a Sarah case. I do have it as being denied at some point, but I think they were going back to relook at it.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll beg your pardon. Go ahead.
Nope, no, it's fine. I was going to say we did place the recert.
Okay. And do you see that in there, Aaron?
Certainly do. Research. Looks like just within the
All right.
last few days.
Let's jump to Clayton County.
And she received $100 fine. Ms. Pavone should have sent her address where instructions on how to get her fine paid by May 31st was sent to her. Sent that to the clerk. We're still dealing with Ms. Eagleton. The Hawkins case was a plea. Isom was a plea.
They're trying
Kroger
to.
was revoked with a lot of conditions. Means was reset to May 6th, next Friday at 10. Mr. Neese, y'all saw that. That was a plea. Mr. Thomas was
Your
reset
husband subs
to
to
May
no one.
6th at 10.
I'm not sure she's with us.
Turner
again.
was a
What's
not
up?
guilty waiver to be filed there.
You tell your
Witherspoon,
husband I said.
we handled that. That was
Thank you.
probation. He was returned to probation.
I'm glad he broke his no sub streak with us. It's an honor to have him as part of the fam. Hard to get. He's like that elusive Pokemon. Is she going to cut us off? Is she going? Don't cut off, Judge. Whatever you do, don't leave. For God's sakes, don't leave. What's she gonna do? Was she looking at the camera all confused? Say something, for the Lord's sake. We got a great show lined up for Florida Friday. Tons of crazy Florida stuff. all for you today. The court sucks today, by the way. I mean, it's terrible. Is everybody taking a holiday or what? This is crazy. Crazy. She's looking for some court to watch too. Not make my job easy today. That's for sure. There we go. All right. Let's go see what everybody's in trouble for over the weekend. Over the weekend from yesterday. Jeez. We will have weekend court tomorrow. So be ready for that. I'll be covering it like topsoil. But for now, we get to go and see what's the haps over here today. Ladies and gentlemen.
And whether you're a risk not to come back to court. So if you want to say something that your attorney hasn't
Very
told
hard
you
to see, Judge.
about those two factors, I'm absolutely happy to hear that. But
And
with
Judge,
its
you probably,
regards to the
I wanted to clarify. So the weapon, the bringing the weapon to the restricted area, what that was
We're
he
at
walked
court,
to the airport
Jeremy.
and he had his pistol on him. And he had forgotten that he had the pistol on him, and he was, that case is still open.
Pew,
And
pew.
so he's facing, whatever's
Not
going to happen there. But that's something that I think I still wouldn't say that's a violent crime. But because
The
the state has
Woodbugger
gone a little bit into
in
the
the
rest of the
house.
case, this is why I did want to discuss
Biggest dono of the
a
day,
little bit
20
of
bones. Thank
the
you.
alternative, because I think obviously
Hallelujah.
they're saying that he was held at gunpoint. What the state might know, and what I think the warrant alleges too, is that that same postal officer is also under investigation. That postal officer or that postal individual is alleged to have had some sort of drug trafficking ring going on. My client actually called the post officer's supervisor to say this individual is not returning packages, and they had a discussion. But having a discussion is not the same as an armed robbery or an aggravated assault. He was held under gunpoint, and yet the package was still not taken. He was held under gunpoint, but the package is still with the postman, and he still delivered packages the rest of the day. It just defies credibility, Judge, and I don't want my client to be held in here, on a high bond or no bond for facts that don't make sense.
All right. Well, I think
holding
based on
up
his pending criminal charges and the facts and circumstances
a mailman.
alleged and his ties to community, that a reasonable bond is in order. I will set bond on
I need
each
to
of
see
the
that.
charges at $15,000 for a total of $30,000.
Ooh, this judge is coming in high.
And I will set in order that he is to have no contact with the victim or the co-defendant.
Look at you.
And will
Frank.
reserve
No,
his right to his probable cause
no
hearing.
pants at work.
Thank
for
you, Judge, and I'm not trying to cause trouble today. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're not causing trouble, no ma'am. You're doing your job.
Yes, here's what I would say. The co-defendant, I think, did reside at the same property as my client, and I know there's a stay away and a no contact. So I wanted to bring that up with the court.
It's all right. I got thick skin.
And just at the court's pleasure. I mean, I'm
Nate the
fine.
Great.
My client's received a reasonable bond. I'm fine with the court saying stay away. I guess the co-defendant would have to leave because I think it's my client's property. I think
Well, that's all between them. I will put on there that he can go back one
his home.
time.
Okay.
With
Rockin'
with
Louisiana.
police escort for personal belongings. If the other gentleman is there, if the other gentleman is not there, then he can be there, obviously.
It's my client's it's my client's property. His name is on the lease, and so the co-defendant was living with him, so it would be his home.
Okay, I'm just.
I'd like to take a minute to thank Ann for recognizing me as the entertainer of the year. Not often am I caught off guard by such a recommendation and just a overwhelming love. Entertainer of the year. A lot of people said it wouldn't happen. I knew it would. And let's just leave it at that. And this guy tried to hold up a postman.
Just going to let y'all work that out, but I'll just say that if there's something else going on, he can go back with a police escort and get personal belongings until it's sorted out. I'm just not going to get in the middle of that.
So, Judge, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding it.
I'm saying I don't have a picture of the lease. I don't know anything about it. I'm ordering him to have no contact. If the other person is
Okay,
not at
I
the
understand.
residence, he can be at the
Okay.
residence. I just can't get in the middle of that.
I wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Judge.
No, no problem.
Judge
All
Sherry's
right,
always
and
awesome.
we'll
Are you
reserve
kidding?
his right to his probable cause hearing just in case. All right. Were there any further, and you're free to go, Miss Luncheon. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Judge. Nice to see you.
Are there any other consents before we start the contested hearings?
Mr. Farrell is back.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, we got a room
Get
full
him
today.
pulled up in my system.
Jared Castro for the Public Defender's Office, Your Honor. I know. Fred's going to be kicking it up, right?
Right, and who is representing Mr. Farrell today?
Willie.
Otherwise known as John Doe.
Your Honor, I think we just got in contact with him. Let me make sure.
Otherwise known as John Doe? What?
And Judge, the special condition for Louis Manigo, it's not checked for the regular box. The regular box not checked.
Ah, okay.
My Instagram.
So, Your Honor, I'll be representing Mr. Farrell.
All right, give me just a second. Let me fix that other special condition. And then I'll be right back with you.
Jeanette, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying. You do your job. We appreciate you over there. Michael York, of course, does. He's over there with you right now. If you're over
All
on
right, Ms.
Facebook,
Thomas.
do us a favor,
Hopefully, if you hit
share
refresh,
this
it'll be there
if you
for you
would.
now.
Thank you. Terminator, by the way, was supposed to have her procedure today, got pushed
Is
back
there?
and all
Thank
this
you,
other
Judge.
stuff.
All right, you're welcome.
I'm sorry to
Okay,
hear that,
then,
Terminator.
Mr. Farrell, good afternoon, sir. You are charged in case number 22-033521 with 1 count of battery, 1 count of fleeing, attempt to elude, 1 count of hit and run, 1 count of obstruction, 1 count of theft by receiving, failure to yield, false imprisonment, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Mr. Castro, I didn't make sure that somebody was able to go over his warrants with him.
Yes, Your Honor. Someone from our office has gone over them with him.
All right. So I'm now going to hear from your attorney and from the state about their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Judge. So the first thing I wanted to point out about Mr. Farrell, which I'm sure you can see, is that he's currently in a wheelchair. He was in a car accident. He hit his head, and he also has some injuries to his knees. So currently he can't walk. He told us on the phone this morning that he hasn't received proper medical attention for about 5 days since this occurred. So he is worried about whether the jail will be able to properly handle this situation going forward if he remains in this condition. Just to go over his IOLA factors, Your Honor, Mr. Farrell is 42 years old. He's a lifelong Georgia resident, and he's currently living in Decatur at an address on Memorial Drive. He lives there on his own. He does have family in the state, including a cousin who we do have contact information for. Mr. Farrell works in construction. He's been doing this work for about 10 years now, and he's also a high school graduate. He attended Druid Hills High School. I haven't received any history for Mr. Farrell from the state yet, so I will let the state go over that. However, we are asking for a low bond today. The bond that we're asking for essentially is the lowest bond that the court would consider granting. Mr. Farrell is of limited financial means.
There you go, Angela.
So I would be requesting either a UJR or the lowest possible bond that the court would consider.
All right. And if the state wants to go over his criminal history, that's fine.
Yes, Your Honor. He does have 10 cycles,
work.
but notably in last year, he has a pending 2021 criminal damage, kidnapping, obstruction, and battery, which I show is out of Fulton, I believe, and 3 failures to appear also from last year as well, 3 counts of failure to appear from last year as well. Our office has spoken to both of the victims in this case.
Woodbugger.
They both want bond to be
love.
denied. However, if bond is granted, they have both requested a stay away and no contact. If your honor is inclined to grant bond, the state is requesting bond the amount of
TMI
$10,000
Terminator.
with those special conditions.
He's in a wheelchair. He got hurt in a car accident while committing a
Just trying
crime.
to find.
So it's a catch-22. I mean,
I have the theft by receiving.
he's been in jail for
Is there
5
another
days.
case number? Because I'm not seeing all of the charges I was given.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not seeing a false imprisonment in possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
I
I noticed
beat
that
out-
as well, Your Honor. It seems like they're currently warrantless.
I just barely beat out Cobra for this honor.
However, we would be asking for a bond on all of those charges if Your Honor would be able to do
He's
that.
gonna try and
I don't
make
think
it
I
today
can
for Chase. We'll
give
see.
a bond on something that's not in the system.
He's doing his best.
So, but I think based on all of the facts and circumstances of this situation and his pending charges and his failure to appears, and his criminal history,
That
I
is
do
weird,
think
Angela.
that I'm going to deny bond at this time. And Mr. Farrell, that doesn't mean you can't get a bond. It just means you're not going to get a bond from me. So your attorney will follow up with you about filing a motion for bond in Superior Court.
Sorry, Your Honor, I'm not a convicted felon.
Okay, sir. I didn't say that you were. I said I couldn't find that charge against you. And so I'm not taking that into consideration, and I'm not taking the false imprisonment into consideration.
I mean, I had my lawyer, don't call me and stuff. I wouldn't,
Take him out of here.
Okay, sir, I've made my decision. There's literally nothing you're going to say
Wheeling
that's
him
going to
away
change
as
that
he's
decision.
yelling.
So I would just suggest you talk with your attorney, and they'll follow up with you about filing a motion in Superior.
Yeah, you should, Angela, make sure you're over on the Creedence and Bishop show page. It should be there. If you're over on We Got to Chase, it won't be.
All right. Are there any consents, or should we just go ahead and start? From
No,
the
We
top?
Got to Chase. We got a case. I
believe that was all the consents, Your Honor.
No. All right. I've still got all of these people in the waiting room, and I don't know what they're in the waiting room for. Well, now I'm down to just one person who says iPhone, but we don't know whose iPhone that is. So if anybody is expecting anyone, and do I have any kind of an update on the juvenile and
By the way, they don't have his file in the system, so she couldn't do anything for him. And now he was hollering about false imprisonment and all this other stuff. That's going to be a mess right there already.
AC and Miss Murray?
No, Judge, I did reach out to Miss Murray. I haven't received a message back. As far as with the iPhone that's in the waiting room, I let them into the meeting. I asked them what case they were here for. They never respond, so not sure.
Okay, all right, well, we'll just leave them out. I just don't want anybody to miss anything if they're supposed to be in here. So we'll start now with Mr. Ash, position number 1.
Numero uno, number 1.
Mr. Ash is
Bring him
my
in.
client, Your Honor.
All right.
What are we congratulating Shanta on? Shanta been a member for a certain amount of time or something? I missed it.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged in case number 22-033817 with 1 count of felony theft by taking. I'm going to hear from your attorney in the state about their positions on your bond.
Who doesn't? Joseph.
Thank you,
come on.
Judge. Mr. Ash is 37 years old. He has very strong ties to the community. He's lived in Georgia his entire life. Most of his family lives here, including his mother, grandmother, children, and a long-term fiance. For the last 18 years, Mr. Ash has been living in a residence in Stone Mountain. Currently, he lives there with his mother and his 2 sons. Mr. Ash is a single parent and the primary caregiver for his children. He's worried about his mother's ability to care for these children if he remains in custody for much longer. So he's certainly concerned about getting out as quickly as he can. As far as employment, Your Honor, Mr. Ash owns his own business called Level Up Cleaning. I was actually able to look it up earlier when I was just doing some Googling to confirm that this was correct. The business appears to be located in Stone Mountain, and he's been operating it for about 4 years now. Mr. Ash has also attended Columbia High School. While he didn't finish, he did subsequently earn his GED. As far as criminal history, Your Honor, Mr. Ash does have a pending case in DeKalb and some other previous charges. However, looking at his history, most of his charges are several years apart, so he doesn't appear to be a habitual offender. As far as bond today, what we're asking for, Judge,
saw
Mr.
that.
Ash is certain that he
So I'm
can pay
crying
a
like a baby.
$5,000 bond, but he isn't sure of his ability to pay anything higher than that. So we are asking for $5,000, and that will allow him to get home and help his mother caring for these children. So thank
Okay,
you.
I have a question, because you're telling me that
Thank you, Judge.
he has his own business, but the warrant alleges that he was working for the warehouse. So, and that he was
That's
on
what
an
I'm
ankle
talking about.
monitor.
Thank you.
So my understanding, Your Honor, is that he has this business that he operates on the side. He does have this other employment though.
Okay.
He's got a
All
side
right.
hustle, Your Honor.
All right. Yes, ma'am. State's position.
Thank you, Judge. To briefly begin with the defendant's criminal history, he does have one, I believe, Minnesota cycle, a 2017 domestic assault, and 9 Georgia cycles, an 05 robbery and theft by receiving, an 05 burglary, a 2010 simple battery, 2013 theft by receiving and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 2018 theft by receiving, and that pending 2020 false statements and felony murder charge that is pending out of DeKalb.
Oh my
Your Honor, the
God.
state's concern is that the defendant was wearing an ankle monitor for, I believe, that pending murder charge, and was already on bond for that case, as well as being an employee of the business at that point in time. The state's request would be $7,500 in this case.
He has a pending felony murder.
All right. I think given all the facts and circumstances and the pending charges, I do find that a $7,500 bond is appropriate. I will set bond in the amount of $7,500, and will reserve his right to his
Wow.
probable cause hearing.
That's
And your attorneys will follow up with you if you're not able to make that bond, sir. All right, the next person will be position number 2, Mr. Cheney.
And by the way, Angela, you are a member. I saw
Honor
you
Melton,
here
Mr.
for the
Cheney.
last 2 weeks. But the weird thing is, it doesn't have. Do you have more than one YouTube account?
Hi,
Maybe?
good afternoon, Mr. Cheney. You are charged in case number 22-033930, charging you with 1 count of misdemeanor obstruction, 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 1 count of reckless conduct, and 1 count of simple assault. Your attorney's gone over the charges with you, so I'm now going to hear from her and the state about their positions on your bond.
Just getting out for a little
Thank you, Your
while,
Honor.
huh, Nate?
Mr. Cheney is 20 years old. He has been in Georgia ever since he was about 8 years old, so since he was a young child. He has most recently been living at an address with his mother in Locust Grove. They've been there for about a year, and that is certainly a stable address that he can return to if he is released on bond. I have had contact with Mr. Cheney's
Cleaning
family
people
today,
out.
specifically the mother of his child. He's actually expecting 2 children right now, and they are in full support of him. I sent the mother of his child the YouTube link, so they should be watching right now. And again, Your Honor, they are in full emotional support of him, and will try to come up with money.
Aren't they the victims in this case?
No, Your Honor. It is a complicated situation, but this is a different person.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to be clear on that. Thank you.
Yes, Judge, I understand the confusion there, certainly. But he is eager to get back out of custody because he does have a job interview coming up with Walmart. In the past, he has held different jobs at fast food restaurants such as Popeyes, but he is eager to become gainfully employed again, specifically at this Walmart that he's
Such
got the
as
interview with next week.
Popeyes.
He did attend Cedar Grove High School, which I believe is just another indication that he does have strong ties to the community. Your Honor, Mr. Cheney completely understands the seriousness of these allegations. He's
Very
remorseful about what happened and was not trying to injure anyone. Like I said, Your Honor, he does have the support of his family and his friends, and we are asking for bond in the amount of $5,000 today. I did speak with Mr. Cheney about a no contact or a stay away or a do not return, and he is completely open to that and will not have any further
Everybody.
contact with the alleged victim in this case or the alleged victim's daughter. So again, Your Honor, our request is $5,000 today.
That's
All right.
it.
And the state's position?
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant does have 6 cycles. I show a 2018 burglary, but I don't have a disposition on that. A 2018 marijuana less than an ounce and theft by receiving. A 2019 4 counts of entering auto, criminal damage, and possessions of tools for the commission of a crime. 2020 theft by taking, and a 2021 3 counts of probation violation. Your Honor, I would note that the defendant was on probation for the 2019 entering auto case, as well as that 2020 theft by taking case. So we do have concerns that the defendant poses a risk to reoffend. Similarly, the state has concerns
And
about the
Walmart's
danger
going to hire this guy?
both to victims in this case and the general community, simply based on the facts of the warrant, of the facts alleged in the warrant. So, Your Honor, the state would be opposed to bond. However, if Your Honor is inclined to grant bond, we do ask that it be in the amount of $10,000 and include that stay away condition.
Yeah, based on the facts and circumstances and the criminal history and the fact that he's on probation in 2 other cases and has 3 recent probation revocations, I do find that it's appropriate to deny bond under 1710(1). And again, Mr. Cheney, that doesn't mean that you can't get a bond. That just means that you'll have to get the bond from Superior Court.
I'm not on probation, and I'm on probation in Fulton County. I don't have any previous. You say I was on.
Okay, sir. Again, I'm not going to change my mind, so you'll want to follow up and talk with your attorney.
Wah, 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 wah.
All right, the
Have a
next
seat,
person
bro.
will be Cochran. Yes, position number 3.
Can I call you Melissa now? Are we getting comfortable here?
Give me just a moment to get this pulled up in my system.
Just let him go. He's fine. He's fine. Nothing to see here, right? T. Nothing wrong. Nothing.
All right, good afternoon. You are charged in case number 22-033975 with 1 count of aggravated assault strangulation, 1 count of aggravated assault with a weapon, 1 count of terroristic threats, 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Your attorney's gone over the charges with you, and so I'm now going to hear from them in the state about their positions on your
I want to hear this one, bud. He's
Thank
never
you, Judge.
choked too many
The first
times.
thing I wanted to bring up about Mr. Cochran is actually his criminal history. Based on what I'm seeing, I see no new charges in the last 15 years, and the charges I do see are all misdemeanors. This does appear to be Mr. Cochran's first serious felony charge, which we'd like the court to take into consideration when setting bond today. As for Mr. Cochran's IOLA factors, he is 51 years old. He's lived in Georgia now for 7 years, and he does have some family in the state, including his brother. He's currently living at an address in Scottsdale, where he's been for more than a year. Recently, he has been living there with his son, who is the alleged victim in this case. However, Mr. Cochran owns the home, and he told us this morning that his son is no longer living there and certainly won't be there once he returns.
I hope
As far
not.
as employment, Your Honor, Mr. Cochran is a supervisor at Appleseed Tree Service. He's held this job for about 5 years now, so he is gainfully and consistently employed. And just to very briefly touch upon the allegations here, Judge, Mr. Cochran is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and he denies the charges as presented by the state. He is adamant that his son attacked him first and that he was defending himself. Mr. Cochran's son does have some mental health issues. And he was recently released from Ridgeview, a psychiatric hospital in Smyrna. So it does appear that there's a lot going on that isn't in the warrants today, Your Honor. So due to Mr. Cochran's financial circumstances, his strong ties, and his lack of recent criminal history, we are asking for a $4,000 bond today, and we would not object to a no contact condition.
Good to see you. Father and son
All right,
fight.
the state's position.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant does have 12 cycles. I would note that he has no history since 2007, but I would emphasize that prior to that, he has an 05 DUI as well as an 06 DUI. Considering the allegations in this case, I believe that was, that is something necessary to emphasize. The state's concern is simply the level of violence alleged in this case. We do have very serious safety concerns about the victim. However, considering the defendant's lack of recent history and lack of violent history, the state is requesting a $15,000 bond and no contact with the victim.
All right, the only other thing that I had was a 2014 drug conviction out of Colorado. I did see
Colorado.
that as
I forgot
the
there was an
only
A at the
other
end.
slightly more recent, but still good distance in time.
Coming up on
Has your
Flat
office had
Mountain.
any contact with the victim in this case?
No, Your Honor, we have attempted to make contact with the victim, but have not received a call back at this time.
All right, well, balancing the seriousness of the allegations with his lack of recent criminal history, I do find that bond is appropriate. I will set bond on the aggravated assault strangulation in the amount of $5,000.
He's got a
On
lot of
the
charges. though.
aggravated assault with a weapon at $5,000.
Piling
And
up.
on each of the other two charges at $2,500 for a total of $15,000. And I will order you to have no contact with your son. I'm going to put on there that you can go back one time with a police escort for personal belongings. If he's still in the residence, you'll talk with your attorney about how to resolve that if he's there and it's your residence. But I will make that available. You'll call the non-emergency number for the police.
We got some people
And
sitting
they will make a
ringside.
time and a place for the officer to meet you and escort you so nobody can say you did anything wrong and the other person feels safe.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and we'll reserve your right to your probable cause hearing.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe was
All
alcohol a
right,
factor
Mr.
in this?
Casco,
I
Ms.
mean, we
Mills,
brought
has
that up.
anybody heard anything from Ms. Murray?
Yes, Your Honor. She has reviewed the paperwork with the juvenile today and has also spoken to his parents about everything that's going on, but she will not be present for the hearing today.
All right.
We now know green is for juveniles here in Georgia.
So are you going to be handling it for her and is she getting us the paperwork?
Yes, I can handle it for her. I will double check with her about whether she sent the paperwork over.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. All right, and so why don't we wait just a minute until you're able to get a response from her? And if you'll let me know, we can then circle back to handle Mr. Lott's case at that time.
Certainly, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right,
they
then the
will.
next person will be position number 4, Ms. Stanarski.
Come on down, Mr. Notsky.
All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. You are here on case number BH22-000690, charging you with 1 count of criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. Your attorney's gone over those charges with you, and I'm now going to hear from them and the state about their positions on your bond.
Your Honor, I do believe that Judge Heydrich signed a order yesterday for a UJR for Ms. Donarski. I have spoken at length with her assigned attorney on another case who actually had worked with the detective. He let her know when the warrants would be taken out here. They coordinated with Ms. Donarski turning herself into the jail. And then the assigned attorney from our office, Ashley Wood, coordinated with ADA Howard to reach a consent for a UJR, which again, Judge Heydrich signed yesterday. So I did want the court to know that there is a UJR in Odyssey for Ms. Donarski right now.
Okay, so she's just here for a first appearance. I was a little confused by all of that. I did get a message about it, but I wanted to get some clarity on it. All right, and is that the state's understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor, that's the state's understanding.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
would.
then, Ms. Janarski, you were just here for us to make sure that you knew about these particular charges. You've already had a bond set by another judge. So I will leave that bond in place and it will be listed as a signature bond in our paperwork as well. Just please be patient as it takes many hours for things to get processed.
Hey, she's getting out, so I mean, might as well, play it cool. No, that's not a girl. There's a girl at the stand that was staying
All
up
right,
at
then
the
the
podium.
next person is Mr. Dugan. Is that who I've got at the podium?
Now there's a guy at the podium.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Dugan, good
Dugan.
afternoon. You are
Schmugan.
charged in case number 22-017597 with
Yeah,
one
both
count
sides.
of possession of a firearm by possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And your attorney's gone over the charge with you. I'm going to hear from them in the state on their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dugan is 33 years old. He is a lifelong Georgia resident who's been living in Beaufort for the last 8 years. Mr. Dugan has 4 children, ages 8, 12, 13, and 14, all of whom live with him. He does raise them and financially support them. He appears to have plenty of family in the state, so we don't believe that he is a flight risk, and he certainly has strong ties. As far as employment, Your Honor, Mr. Dugan is self-employed at Jay's Outdoor Entertainment. Essentially, this is a business. He has a truck that he drives around for children's birthday parties. Generally, they have kind of video games and other games of that nature whenever people rent out or whenever people utilize his business, Your Honor. As far as what we're asking for, I apologize, Your Honor. I forgot to mention his education.
Got a lot of hair.
Mr. Dugan also attended Southwest High School in Macon, Georgia. He did graduate, and he went on to study at Central Georgia Technical School, where he worked on a business degree for a year or so, Your Honor. What we're asking for in bond today, I don't anticipate that it will be that far from what the state is asking for.
And you fixed it,
What I
Angela.
anticipate the state to ask for is a $2,500 bond. But the bond that Mr. Dugan has assured us that he'll be able to pay is a $1,000 bond. So that is our request today, Your Honor.
Don't you hate when that happens, Angela?
The state's position.
Yes, Your Honor. As Mr. Casto mentioned, the state is requesting bond in the amount of $2,500. Considering the defendant's criminal history, don't believe that a $1,000 bond would be appropriate. Looking at that history, he does have 23 cycles. In roughly the past 10 years, he has a 2011 theft by taking and burglary, 2016 driving while license suspended or revoked, 2017 possession of marijuana less than an ounce. 2017, he also has 2 separate cycles of probation violation, another probation violation in 18 and another one in 19, along with the 2019 family violence battery that I don't show a disposition on. He does have a pending 2022 driving while license suspended or revoked, but notably, Your Honor, he does have an active warrant out of Barrow County for a burglary. And I can confirm if that is an active hold, but I believe it is an active hold, Your Honor.
It seems like there's so many repeat offenders. I mean,
Your
every
Honor,
once in a
I
while
just
have
looked at
somebody
Odyssey and it does appear to be an active hold.
that's been like, first time criminal, but
All right, given
vast
all of the
majority are
criminal
like
history,
tons of
pending
criminal
cases
history.
and the outstanding warrant, I do think a $2,500 bond is a very reasonable request. I will set bond in the amount of $2,500. And again, Mr. Dugan, if you're not able to make that bond, follow up with your attorney at the public defender's office.
You guys planning a get together or what? What are we doing here? Does anybody want to plug the Michael Malloy show while we're here?
And the
Dolphins
next person
fan,
we'll
good to
have then
see
is
you.
going to be Mr. Hayes.
Mr. Hayes is also my client.
Go figure. What a surprise.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Hayes. You're actually here on case number 21-028662, charging with 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property, 1 count of forgery in the 2nd degree, and 1 count of possession of less than an ounce of marijuana. Your attorney's gone over the charges with you. I'm now going to hear from him in the state about your ability to make a bond.
Looky there.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Hayes is 23 years old. He's lived in Georgia his entire life, and most of his family is in the state, so he certainly has strong ties. For the last 13 years, he's lived in a home in Decatur, and he's currently living there with his mother and younger sister. As far as employment, Your Honor, Mr. Hayes is gainfully employed. For the last year, he's worked with 840 ATL Security as a security guard. Mr. Hayes is a high school graduate as well. He attended Elizabeth Andrews High School. He's also enrolled at Georgia Piedmont Technical School for welding, and this is something that he'll be starting this coming fall. Our office has been in touch with Mr. Hayes' long-term girlfriend, who confirmed his employment and also informed us that Mr. Hayes is the primary caregiver for his family. So again, that's his mother and his younger sister.
Mr. P.S. Hayes.
As far as these charges, Your Honor, Mr. Hayes denies them. He maintains that he thought that he had taken a proper title to the car in question and that there was nothing nefarious involved in this situation, Your Honor. When Mr. Hayes was arrested, he cooperated with police and told them that they could take the car after being informed about the situation. We do acknowledge that Mr. Hayes has some recent history, but again, he does maintain his innocence in this case. And it's our position that his past history shouldn't completely bar him from receiving a bond today, Your Honor.
We need an order for him to stay away from
due to the non-violent nature of the charges and Mr. Hayes' cooperation with police, we are asking that the court set a bond today. And we would just ask that the court set the lowest possible bond it would consider.
Okay, but you are aware of his pending criminal history, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state's position?
Your Honor, the state is going to be opposed to bond in this case as the defendant poses a risk to reoffend. Beginning with that criminal history, he does have 6 cycles, a 2018 conviction for marijuana less than an ounce. The remaining cycles, I believe, are all pending: a 2018 aggravated assault, obstruction, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, pending out of DeKalb; a 2019 2 counts of theft by receiving, 2 counts of using a license plate to conceal identity, possessions of tools for a crime, hit and run, pending out of DeKalb; a 2021 theft by receiving, fleeing, and eluding, pending out of DeKalb. And I would note that he is on a $24,000 bond on that case, as well as a 2022 theft by receiving, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of marijuana, and acquiring a license plate for concealing a motor vehicle. That case was on February 16th, and he is on an $8,000 bond for that case as well. The state's position is that the defendant poses a risk to reoffend. In the last 5 months, he has 2 additional theft by receiving cases, and has consistently been committing additional crimes while out on bond for each of those pending charges. So the state, again, would be opposed to any bond.
But yet he's a security guard. A security guard. And he's got all these charges. How the hell?
I would say he has consistently gotten arrested for new cases. I can't say he's committed those crimes, but I agree that having just gotten out of jail on the same charges 2 months ago and 2 months before that, and his criminal history and pending charges, I do find that he is a risk to reoffend. I will deny bond at this time. And again, Mr. Hayes, that just means that your attorney will follow up with you about filing a motion in Superior Court.
When is Superior Court?
Your attorney will follow up with you about filing that motion, and they'll give you other times and when
now.
those will be set.
I think, and it don't make a difference, it's a difference that I gave.
I understand, sir, but this is the facts that are before me, and that's how I make my decision.
Yes, ma'am.
Louis.
All right, and Ms. Mills, Mr. Casto, if you guys hear something regarding the juvenile, I'm happy to take care of that case.
Yes, Judge. I have received a copy of the paperwork. I was about to send the clerk a chat to ask if they have received it as well.
Okay, all right. Well, as long as it's all been executed, I'd like to go ahead and free up the folks at RYDC. So,
yes,
all right. So if we can go ahead and move forward then with Mr. Lott. Good afternoon, Mr. Lott. We're going to go ahead and take care of your case. You had an opportunity to speak with your attorney on this matter, and your attorney just wasn't able to be here this afternoon, but she's also gone over it with your mom. And so you're charged in juvenile warrant 2022 J2729 with 1 count of armed robbery. And because of that charge, I'm not able to set a bond, but you've had an opportunity for your attorney to also explain the process for your case, and they'll be filing up following up with you about filing a motion. All right, and that's all we're gonna be able to do.
When I
for
was
you
a kid,
today.
I had no time for holding anybody
All
up.
right,
I was too
Mills, was there
busy
anything else we needed to go
trying
over?
to talk to
No, Your Honor,
girls
nothing
and
further.
All right.
do homework.
Okay, then, Mr. Lott,
Who
your
had time
attorney,
for
Ms. Murray, will
holding
be
people
following
up?
back up with you, okay? All right, thank you.
Armed robbery. Are you kidding me? Oh, hello, lady.
All right, now we can take up Mr. Lewis's case. Good
Mr.
afternoon,
Loomis.
sir. Let me get you pulled up in my system.
I'll be representing Mr. Lewis today.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Lewis, you are charged in case number 22-033630 with robbery,
problem,
bicycle
Angela.
snatch, battery, reckless conduct, pointing a pistol at another, and obstruction, felony obstruction of law enforcement officers. Your attorney's gone over the charges with you, so I'm now
guess
going to
so.
hear from her and the state about their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis is 19 years old. He has been in Georgia ever since he was 12 years old. So this state is really all he knows at this point. He has been most recently residing with some friends in Stone Mountain. He's been there just for a couple of months, but his family is still local.
This girl right here
He
laying
did
her head
graduate
against the wall
recently
sleeping.
from Lithonia High School, so he does have his high school diploma and is working on making a better life for himself. He has a very limited means at this time, Your Honor, so posting any bond is going to be quite difficult for Mr. Lewis, but we do understand that these charges are serious in nature. So we are requesting a $5,000 bond today from Mr. Lewis. Based on the criminal history I've seen from ADA Donker vote today, I don't believe that he has any convictions. It has a very limited criminal history with just one cycle. So we believe the $5,000 bond amount is reasonable for Mr. Lewis today, and that is our request.
All right, state's position.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant, as Ms. Mills mentioned, only has one cycle and no convictions. Our office has spoken to the victim in this case who has asked that bond be denied. According to that victim, the defendant tried to shoot her with her own weapon. She also stated that she spoke to another customer who stated that on a separate occasion, the defendant took his book bag. However, that being said, Your Honor, the state recognizes that the defendant does have a very limited criminal history. So if Your Honor is inclined to grant bond, we do request that it be an amount of $10,000 and have a no contact and stay away from the incident location.
You need
All
some
right,
baby
well,
powder,
based on the
Dave.
facts and circumstances of his arrest and the situation with the officers, in addition to the allegations contained from the victim with regard to the incident with her, not with regard to her saying what somebody else told her. I do find that it's appropriate to deny bond at this time. So Mr. Lewis, again, that doesn't mean you don't get a bond. It just means you don't get one from me, and your attorney will follow up with you about filing a motion in Superior Court.
19 years old, holding places up. Got a 6-finger pew pew. Wow.
All right, the next person then will be Mr. Lucas.
Good ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Lucas.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good, sir. You are charged in case number 22-033986.
I'm guessing this person was like a store owner and he took the weapon away from the store owner. That's what I'm getting from that. He had tried to use their own weapon against them too.
With one count of criminal trespass, damage to property, one count of public intoxication, and one count of terroristic threats. Your attorney's gone over those charges with you, so I'm now going to hear from her and the state about their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lucas is 63 years old. He is a lifelong Georgia resident, and for the last 54 years, he's been living at a family home in Scottsdale. So he certainly appears to have strong ties to the community. His entire family lives here as well. He also has 3 adult children and 9 grandchildren who I believe live in the state. So he certainly has plenty of family to support him and ensure that he'll make it back to court for future court dates. As far as employment, Your Honor, Mr. Lucas is retired and his primary income is from Social Security. However, he previously worked as a stonemason for decades before entering retirement. Mr. Lucas is also a high school graduate. He graduated from Clarkston High School, and he also attended 2 years of college at what is now Georgia State. As far as criminal history, Your Honor, we acknowledge that Mr. Lucas does have some recent history. However, none of those charges are for violent conduct of this.
Congratulations,
caliber.
Jim.
It's my position that Mr. Lucas isn't a danger to the community,
Way
and
to
that
go.
this terroristic threats charge we're looking at today seems to be out of the ordinary for him. So, Your Honor, as I mentioned before, Mr. Lucas is retired and supports himself through SSI payments. He doesn't have the ability to make a very high bond today at all. And due to his strong ties and lack of similar history, we are asking for a UJR. I did just want to mention that the state may have some information on some potential conditions. My understanding is that they've spoken with some family members this morning.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I discuss the family members' concerns, beginning with the criminal history, he does have 38 cycles. I would note that 11 are in the last 10 years. So I do believe that a UJR and a low bond would be inappropriate in this case, given his criminal history. In the last 5 years alone, he has a 2017 probation violation, 2018 disorderly conduct and reckless conduct, 2018 failure to appear, 2019 theft by shoplifting, a 2020 criminal damage, which I believe is pending, a 2020 theft by shoplifting, 2020 failure to appear, 2021 criminal trespass, which I believe is pending, a 2022 reckless conduct and criminal trespass, and a 2022 criminal trespass as well. Your Honor, I have spoken with the defendant's sister, and
Cycles are basically arrests where you're brought in, they do everything, and you get, the case basically gets heard and, whole thing. So he's been arrested quite a few times.
she does have some very serious concerns about the defendant's mental health. And looking at his recent criminal history, I'm inclined to agree. The sister has requested that the defendant be required to be placed in a treatment facility, as well as the state would also be requesting that, looking at the defendant's history. Your Honor, I reached out to Mr. Casto, and unfortunately, we were unable to coordinate quickly enough to have the defendant placed in that facility. So I don't feel comfortable consenting to a UJR without some sort of system of treatment set up. And since we are unable to plan that with the amount of time that we had today, the state is going to request a $4,000 bond and a mental health evaluation and treatment. However, I don't believe that the defendant is likely to comply with those conditions, even if bond is granted.
I'm gonna move to the villages.
All right. Well, obviously, I am concerned with the recent criminal history and the lengthy criminal history. And the facts and circumstances of this case. I don't find that a UJR is appropriate at this time. I have made a note that if the social worker from the public defender's office is able to find a residential treatment program, and if Mr. Lucas is willing to go into that, I would be open to revisiting the bond and revisiting the idea of a UJR.
Oh, damn, Jay.
But at this time, I do find that a bond in the amount of $1,000 on the criminal trespass damage to property, $500 on the public intoxication, and $3,500 on the terroristic threats, for a total bond of $5,000. And I'm not going to put any requirements on that. I'm just going to be optimistic that we're able to find.
Thank you for your service, Jim. I know you've been told that before. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, brother. I see the one lady woke up that was leaning against the wall.
All right, yeah, Mr. Pope is going to be next.
Just kidding.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Pope. You are here on case number 2022378083, charging with 1 count of possession with intent to distribute marijuana, possession of a drug-related object, possession of a gun during commission of that crime, and possession of a Schedule I controlled substance. Your attorney's gone over those charges with you. I'm going to hear from them and the state about their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. The first thing I want to stress about Mr. Pope is that he has absolutely no criminal history, misdemeanor,
Steve,
felony,
good to
or
see ya.
otherwise. I also want to say from the outset that our request today is for a $1,000 bond, in large part due to his lack of history. Addressing his IOLA factors, Your Honor, Mr. Pope is 24 years old. He does have strong ties as a lifelong Georgia resident. He's been living at a residence in Decatur for about 8 years now, and he's currently living there with his brother and his 2 young children. These children, Your Honor, he has a 1-year-old as well as a 3-month-old, and he's been in a long-term relationship with the mother of his children for several years now.
Something's going around, I heard.
Mr. Pope is
You should be
also
careful.
gainfully employed. He's actually a service worker for Aramark, which is a food service, a commercial food service. Through that job, he stocks and organizes food for students at Spelman College. He's had this job for about 4 years now, so he certainly has maintained consistent employment over the last few
So it
years.
sounds like Jay.
As far as education, Your Honor, Mr. Pope graduated from Fort Stewart Military School, which is also in Georgia, so that just goes to emphasize his ties. So again, Your Honor, due to his lack of criminal history and his strong ties, we are asking for a $1,000 bond.
All right. And the state's position?
Honor, just to confirm, he does not have any history that we are able to locate, and the state's position is a $2,000 bond.
All right. I think given all the facts and circumstances, a slightly higher bond is in order. I am going to, but I do take into account, and I'm setting this bond with the recognition that Mr. Pope has gotten to this point in his life without any prior problems, but I am concerned with the facts and circumstances of his arrest. So I will set bond on the possession of marijuana with intent to distribute at $1,000, on the possession of a drug-related object at $500,
Drug-related object.
on the possession of a gun during commission of those charges at $1,500, and the possession of a Schedule I controlled substance at $1,000. So
All right,
that
Steve
total
says
bond will
we
be
missed something, by
4,000.
the way. This guy's getting his punishment.
As long as I did my math correctly.
All right, so
And we'll reserve his right to his probable cause hearing.
all right, I'm gonna go back. I want to find out what's got Steve so cracked up that we missed. Steve, this one's on you. If it doesn't go well. Let's see.
All right, yeah, Mr. Pope is going to be next.
Here's my black
And $3,500 on the terroristic threats for a total bond of $5,000. And I'm not going to put any requirements on that. I'm just going to be optimistic that we're able to find a good
catch,
program
Steve.
for him.
Here's my black
Kiss my black ass. Oh my gosh.
As long as I did my math correctly.
All right, it's back to where we were.
All right, and we'll reserve his right to his probable cause hearing.
He said, kiss my ass. Kiss my black ass as he walked out. Hey, he got his licks in. Good for him.
All right, the next person then is going to be Mr. Richmond. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged in case number 22-034097 with 1 count of shoplifting. And your attorney's gone over the charges with you, so I'm going to hear from him and the state about their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Richmond is 35 years old. He's been living in Georgia now for 15 years. And for the last 9 years, he's been living at an address in Scottdale. He is living there currently with his daughter's mother and his daughter. So he is living essentially with his immediate family. Mr. Richmond's daughter is 13 years old. As I indicated, he does help financially support and raise her. As far as employment, Your Honor, Mr. Richmond works at Whiskey Tango Media. This is a TV production TV production company, Your Honor, and he works there as a production assistant. Essentially, he helps operate the cameras.
He's a PA.
As far as education, Mr. Richmond is a high school graduate out of New York, and he also went to college for 2 years pursuing a degree. As far as other ties to the community, Mr. Richmond wanted us to mention that he volunteers at Salem Baptist Church. And he has a job coming up in the upcoming future for Georgia Public Broadcasting. Again, that does make sense considering his ties to media, Your Honor. So what we're asking for today, based on the charges, is a $1,000 bond. This is a bond that Mr. Richmond has assured us he'll be able to make.
All right. And the state's position?
Yes, Your Honor. Beginning with the defendant's criminal history, he does have 9 Georgia cycles. In the last 10 years, he has 2012 failure to appear, 2013 false report of a crime, 2016 driving while license suspended or revoked, 2018 2 counts of fraud, 2018 fugitive, and a pending 2021 theft by shoplifting and marijuana less than an ounce, and possession of tools for a crime. Your Honor, he did receive a $7,000 bond with a $700 option on that case. He also has one Tennessee cycle of 2 counts of theft of different kinds from 2016. Your Honor, looking at the facts alleged in the warrant as well as the defendant's criminal history, we will be asking for bond amount of at least $2,000.
At least $2,000. He's got quite the pass.
All right. Based on his criminal history and his pending cases for similar charges, I do find that a $2,000 bond is reasonable. I will set bond in the amount of $2,000.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Nope, here comes Sleepy. If you can't do the petty crime,
Velasquez Castillo.
Yeah, he's really bad at what he's been doing. Gets caught constantly.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged in case number 22-033842 with 1 count of prostitution and 1 count of possession of cocaine. Your attorney's gone over the charges with you, so I'm going to hear from her in the
prostitution and cocaine.
State about their positions on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I'm sure Your Honor noticed, the most serious charge that we're here for today is the possession of cocaine charge. When I reviewed the warrant, I noticed that it's just 0.1 grams of narcotics that is at issue here. So I did just want to highlight that. Ms. Velasquez Castillo is 39 years old. She has been in Georgia her entire life. Most recently, she's been at an address in Decatur. She's actually been there for almost a decade, about 9 years at this point.
Yes.
And that is a home that she resides in by herself.
Yes.
She does have a 9-year-old son
Nirvana.
who lives in the area locally with his biological father. She sees him about 3 times a week. So she is an active mother in her son's life and is eager to be back out to be reunited with him. She does also do some part-time work as a housekeeper. She told me that she works about 25 hours a week, and she's held that job for the last 1.5 years.
Well, she been a
She
prostitute.
also did obtain her GED and then go on to study at the University of Phoenix for about almost 2 years in business administration. Your Honor, I do recognize that she has a criminal history, and I do recognize that she has some pending cases at this time. But I don't think she's missed any court dates in about 3 years, and she has not had an opportunity even to resolve those 4 pending cases at this time. So I would just like the court to note that. She is certainly eager to resolve those cases, but with the COVID backlog, as we're all aware, things are just moving a little bit more slowly. So that's how
She's having a good
she has
time.
all of those cases pending at this time. Your Honor, she also does suffer from extremely high blood pressure and extreme hypertension. So there is some medical needs that need to be attended to that have not been addressed in the jail.
If she has those problems, should she be doing the cocaine? Really?
Quite yet, and we certainly don't want to overburden the jail with everything that they have going on at this time as well. Your Honor, she does adamantly deny the allegations in the misdemeanor warrant. And there's certainly more investigation that we need to do here. But today, our request is a UJR for her.
All right, and the state's position?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is going to be requesting a $2,000 bond. Looking at the defendant's criminal history, she has 34 cycles. I would note that 28 are in the last 10 years and 13 are in the last 5. Looking at only the pending cases, she does have a 2020 prostitution, 2020 driving without a valid license and theft by shoplifting, 2021 theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass, and 2022 theft by shoplifting. She does also have one Alabama cycle that I show a 2013 identity theft, possession of a forged instrument, but I don't have a disposition on that charge. Your Honor, considering the defendant's criminal history as well as the amount of narcotics alleged in the warrant, the state believes $2,000 is appropriate.
All right, well, although her criminal history is considerable, what I don't see, and I do note that I don't see any failure to appears. And based on the nature and facts and circumstances of her arrest, I will set bond as a UJR, otherwise known as a signature bond, Ms. Velasquez Castillo, but I can guarantee you if you get arrested again, you're not going to get a signature bond the next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Damn, judge.
And we're going to have her sign the waiver.
I'm surprised the judge just was like, wow, no problemo. Sign and walk.
Can I see that online real quick? Can I see that online real quick?
What?
Excuse me, Ms. Mills, is there any way you can call my friend that gave you them before and let them know I got a signature bond and I will be calling you?
Yes, I will. I'll get in touch with him as soon as court wraps up.
I don't know exactly what time, but.
We'll see you, Loud.
She'll take good care of you. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The hooker with a heart of gold.
All right, and then I think the last person we have is Ms. Z. Is it Zbeck or Zabeck?
Either is fine, Judge.
Sorry?
Either is fine, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged in case number 41-0108-39-22 with one count of theft by taking. Your attorney's gone over the charges with you, and I'm going to hear from her and the state about their position on your bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Zbeck is 43 years old, and I don't believe that she has any convictions on her record whatsoever. She is originally from Colorado, but has been in Atlanta for the last 4 years. She actually moved to Atlanta because she was a VP of sales in corporate America. That was a wonderful job, and since then she's actually opened up her own company, which is a recycling storage consulting company. And I actually found that that is a registered corporation in the state of Georgia. I did a little bit of research on that before court this afternoon. But Your Honor, she has been at an address in Atlanta for the last 6 months where she is currently living by herself. And like I said, she is gainfully employed and has a business that she runs by herself. She did go on to get her master's degree from the University of Denver, and her undergrad degree is in business management from the University of Phoenix. Your Honor, I certainly realize that these are serious allegations, but given her lack of any criminal history whatsoever and her strong ties to the community, my request today for her bond is an amount of $3,000.
All right, the state's
She's
position.
the VP of.
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant does have one Arizona cycle, but no convictions that I show. Considering the facts alleged in the warrant, Your Honor, and the amount at issue in this case, the state is requesting bond in the amount of $10,000 and no contact with the victim.
All right, well, the allegations are very concerning, seeing as they involve over $150,000. And I do realize they are just allegations at this time.
$150,000.
Very intricate allegation. So the court is very concerned about that and about the fact that the money hasn't been recovered and her ties to the community. So balancing that and her lack of a criminal history, I am going to set bond in the amount of $25,000 and order that she have no contact with the victim in this case.
So I'm guessing she took, did she take money and embezzle money?
And will reserve her right to the probable cause hearing.
Theft by taking. you just take 125, 100? Oh my
All
God.
right, is there anything else with regard to this calendar once we get that resolved?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Dolphins fan, well put.
Nothing
She's
from
just
defense either.
recycling it right now.
All right then, and if there's nothing from the deputies in the courtroom and Ms. Thomas, I think we're all set. I just wish everybody a good, safe, and
$45 plus
Whoa.
$75 for laundry.
Look at
I don't know
the
how
face
those
on
numbers
Daryl.
Juggle up against each other.
All right, sir, back in March, when the judgment was taken, it was taken for $7,418.71 is what I have.
Yeah,
So how much of that do you think you don't owe? How much do you think you owe? Not including April.
I have to sit there and I'm having to go ahead and do things on my computer real quickly.
Come on, Mr. Peter.
How much was the thing back in March?
$77,418.71.
Good gracious.
I'm sorry for holding you up on that.
Owen! Pay me a Pepsi.
Your Honor, if I can add something, that number that you're quoting to Mr. Peters includes $205 in costs. The rent that was owed at the time was $7,213.71.
I understand.
Just trying to help out Mr. Peters with the numbers.
Okay.
Why is Michael in such
Now,
a
one of the other things that I have with the numbers is
interdimensional? Yeah, he type
the rent
microphone.
that's being decided owed is
He's
supposed to
having
have a
wrong
lot
day.
of services that was never provided. Since November, mid part of November, American House
Sir?
has stopped.
Sir, I'm
Yeah.
asking you, how much of the 74 do you believe you owe?
I may owe the whole 7,400 if I had been given all the services I was contractually was supposed to have received.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may, the time for Mr. Peters to dispute this was on March 25th, when we had a hearing in this matter, which he did not appear for.
Yes, and if you would have looked at my reason to ask for the extension was I did not have any information. I was supposed to receive an email telling me when this was going to be and how to contact. I did not receive it until this one.
Your Honor, Mr. Peters was mailed by the court a notice to appear on March 4th, 2022. And on the notice, it says failure of the defendant.
I'm as
to
aboard as
appear in
Judge
civil
Cedric
case
is already with
may
Michael
cause a default judgment to be entered.
and Mr. Peters.
Mr. Peters did not appear that day. He did not contact the court to find out how he could appear that day.
So we're
He
getting
did
the
not
hell out of
contact
here.
my office.
Heading here.
It appears that Mr. Watts was previously appointed to represent you, and the court does appoint Mr. Watts once again to represent you in this matter. And the court sets this case before Judge Satterfield on the warrant to show cause docket. That would be Friday, June 17, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. Friday, June 17, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. before Judge Satterfield. You do need to be present at that time. Judge Satterfield has ordered a no bond hold.
Is that a real tattoo
upon
on her
you.
face?
The court does not disturb that order that Judge Satterfield has previously entered herein. So counsel's been appointed. You know your next date. And do you have any questions?
Can you repeat that date, sir? I got it.
It is before Judge Satterfield, Friday, June 17, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. Friday, June 17, 2022, 2:30 p.m. before Judge Satterfield. You do need to be present at that time.
She framed. Oh, damn, we
You're
missed
not
it.
going to change the bond?
No, I'm not going to modify the bond. That has been specifically been set by Judge Satterfield as a no bond hold.
Thank you.
Oh, great. You offended her, Iowa golfer. Now she's gone. Nice work. You scared her
Any
away.
other questions?
That's it. Thank you, sir.
Right there between his eyes.
There be nothing further. Court is in recess. Have a good day.
Are you kidding me? Oh, Judge. We're staying here, recess or not. We're not in recess if we're bringing in more people. Yeah, we're not in recess. Keep it going. It was very shiny for a face tattoo, though. We get to watch the judge enjoy his coffee. Is that what we're doing? Okay. Oh, she's back.
Case is entitled State of Kansas versus Samuel Ray Humble, 2022 CR 155. Mr. Humble, you're charged by way of information, count 1, on or about April 29, 2022 in Butler County, Kansas, with
We're in
interference
Kansas.
with law enforcement, a Class A non-person misdemeanor. Count 2, you're charged, same date and location.
Butler County. The beautiful girl keeps leaving us, but why?
And that's with DUI that allegedly occurred on or about, once again, April 29th, 2022 in Butler County, Kansas. And this would be a felony, unclassified, non-person felony, as it is alleged that there were 2 prior convictions for DUI. Count 3, same date and location. Reckless driving, fleeing or attempting to elude an officer, a level 9 person felony. Count 4, same date and location, circumvention of ignition interlock, a Class A non-person misdemeanor. Count 5, same date and location. Driving while license is suspended or canceled, a Class A non-person misdemeanor.
problem,
Count
Moo.
6, failure to maintain a single lane, an infraction. Count 7, same date, failure to signal when turning, an infraction. Mr. Humble, do you understand the charges pending against you?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Humble, you do have the right to counsel if you could not afford an attorney. One would be appointed to represent you. Are you currently employed?
Yes,
I've had
What
it
type
that
of
long
work do
before.
you do?
manufacturing.
I've had it.
Where do you work?
It's Case, New Holland.
And what is your hourly wage?
26, I think.
26.
So you earn approximately $26 an hour.
Yes.
Nice.
Court notes that you do have, and are you currently employed once again?
Yes.
The court does
Doing my
note
best.
that you are gainfully employed. You're employed at a job where you're paid approximately $26 an hour. The court finds you do have financial wherewithal for retaining an attorney. The court does not appoint counsel in your case. Subsequently, the court sets your next appearance date. That would be before Judge Satterfield.
So we now know $26 an hour will not
on
allow you to get a public defender. Just
Monday, June 13, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. Monday, June 13, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. before Judge Satterfield. You do need to be present
Probably
at that time. Court does need to set appropriate bond.
Right.
Mr. Humble, where do you currently reside?
Rose Hill,
What is your address?
214 East Showalter.
214 East Showalter, Rose Hill, Kansas. How long have you lived there?
11 years.
11 years?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And do you have family that reside in Butler County, Kansas?
Yes, sir.
Who would that be?
Mother and father,
Their names and address?
Larry and Kay, same address.
Very well. Recommendation for bond, Mr. Castillo.
Your Honor, the state's going to request $5,000 cash as surety bond. Reason being is the nature and circumstances of the crime charged. The defendant was driving and was committing several traffic violations. The officer attempted to pull him over and the defendant kept on driving to his residence where he got
You
out
missed the chase.
of the vehicle. The police officer informed or demanded he stop. He did not. He had to be taken to the ground. And it was discovered that he was also driving without a ignition interlock in violation of restrictions on his driver's license. He did field sobriety tests, failed them, then went and submitted to a intoxilizer test. He blew a 0.187. So the evidence is strong in addition to the nature and circumstances of the crime charged. Record of convictions at this point as listed within the information here. He has a number of DUIs. The state counts 6 prior DUIs. He has numerous driving while suspended priors.
We've all been there.
So he's just an unsafe driver based upon these prior driving while suspended. And because he has a long history of DUI, the state will be asking as a condition of bond that he be on a scram unit. And with that, Your Honor, the state believes that that is a sufficient bond request.
He was actually
Court
smiling
does
about being an
grant the
unsafe
motion
driver.
for $5,000 cash or surety. And court does grant the motion
Good
for
to see ya.
a scram unit to be placed on the person of Mr. Humble until this matter is resolved.
Mr. Humble.
Any other matters come before the court, Mr. Castillo
No, Your Honor.
and Mr. Humble?
No, sir.
There being nothing further, court is in recess. Have a good day.
Oh, creaky chair, Judge.
And that's all I have here, Your Honor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We got somebody up in Sallyport, though. And we still got Jennifer over here, strangely staring into the phone. Oh, Chris looks like a psychopath. He got it. Just let it go. Yes, I saw that that interesting chase last night. That had a horrible. A scram unit is basically where they'll be able to monitor where he's at all the time. I think also do some sort of like alcohol assessment and things like that. They'll be able to know if he's drinking at any time. It's a more high tech, way of keeping up with things as compared to just like an ankle monitor for like making sure you're at home. It'll give them information about everything that's going on with them. Why does she look like she's in a setting of like a photo shoot or something? Oh, Jake, wake up, bud. This judge, I like him just because he's weird. Jen sent stars. Hallelujah, Jen. Thank you for the stars over on the Facebook. If you're watching from Facebook, think about giving this a follow as well as a share. That's also your way of helping out the channel by dropping some stars over there on Facebook. Yeah, he was smiling. he was a kind of a jerk. Well, he definitely was a jerk, not kind of a jerk. That's what I thought. I knew it could tell you if you'd been tell if the guy had been drinking, but I didn't know exactly how it did it. But there you go. Due to sweat. Sweat, baby, sweat. I know. I felt like I was in bed with Jake, and that's not where I wanted to be today. There you go. Science. The judge is in no hurry. It is a alcohol sweat patch. It sticks on you. And when your body produces sweat, it detects it. Wow. We got a scram. Yeah. She is see how shiny that tattoo looks on her face, though? That's what makes me feel like it's not real. Like right above her eyebrow. Is she being held prisoner somewhere?
And Mr. Castillo, in review of Mr. Lewis Earl Bell's 3 files, it appears to me that the convictions on each of these 3 were for misdemeanors. Is that correct?
Give me a moment here, Your Honor.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, she's like Orland Mills. Possibly a pretty bandage on her head.
Yes, Your Honor, that's what I'm seeing.
Okay,
It's
so
just
they're
really
all
colorful
misdemeanors.
and shiny.
And
Oh, that's a great Creed frame note. That was awesome.
Mr. Castillo, do you know when they've all been pled out to misdemeanors, do those go back to Judge Webster on the warrant show cause dockets?
Yes, Your Honor. Usually it's just part of Monday morning misdemeanor control.
Okay.
Up the warrant show causes.
I can't wait for her to talk.
All right. The cases are entitled State of Kansas versus Lewis Earl Bell, 2018 CR 328, 2019 CR 177, 2019 CR 73. Mr. Bell appears in person after making bond herein. And Mr. Bell, you have warrant to show cause whereby it's alleged in 2018 CR 328, you failed to refrain from violating the law, failed to report as directed, failed to make monthly payments as ordered, a balance remaining of $1351.90. Then in 19 CR 177, once again, there is a warrant to show cause, same reasons given therein. And then in 2019 CR 73, same reasons given. In addition, you failed to obtain a batterer intervention assessment and follow all recommendations. So that's the status of your cases at this point. And do you understand the reason for your appearance here today?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
And Mr. Bell, the court does make inquiry. Are you currently employed?
No, I'm homeless, Your Honor. I was a victim of identity theft, and I was in St. Joseph Hospital in the psychiatry department. I was they diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder. Miss Teal knows about all of that.
The court does find you qualify for court-appointed counsel. Court appoints Darren Patterson to represent you in all 3 of these misdemeanor convictions. and warrant to show cause matters. And the court sets this case, your cases, 3 cases before Judge Webster on Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. before Judge Webster.
Okay.
You need to be present at that time.
Am I to
You've already
understand
made your bond. The court
somebody
continues you
stole
on
his
the bond
job
previously
by stealing
posted.
his identity?
Any other matters to come before the court?
I'm very confused.
Mr. Castillo?
Your Honor, just that the defendant might want to walk across the street to provide contact information to Mr. Patterson.
Yes. Do you know
Give
where
me
Mr.
our
Patterson's
address
office?
you don't have.
No, sir.
He's on Pine Street,
Right.
directly across from the east side parking lot of the judicial building.
Okay.
Darren Patterson.
I think I've had him before.
Well, I know what we've had before. T coming and dropping the stars on us. I know they're really for her, but we'll take them anyways. Thank you so much, T, for all the support over on the Facebook. Yes. What's your I had my identity stolen. I was
Next case would be State of Kansas versus
General.
Michael Dean Rent. It's R-I-N-D-T.
She's getting closer to the camera, so we
Michael Dean Rent, R-I-N-D-T.
Somebody go yell that
Is
3 times in the
Mr.
hallway.
Rent present? I show a Michael Rent with an M in the Zoom box.
I hope he is there any way that Mr. Rent
Mr. Rent, do you hear
is
me?
in trouble for not paying his rent? Can it happen? Mr. Rent not paying his rent? She's into some really
I'm
kinky
showing
stuff.
we have connection with him.
How's that?
Mr. Rent?
Yes, sir. Is that you?
Yes, it is. Take yourself off of mute
Thank you, T.
video.
Okay. Is that better?
I can hear you. I need to see you.
How's that?
There he is. Ah,
I can see you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rent, present before the court.
settle down, Michael.
And there is a warrant to show cause as to why you should not, you should show cause as to why you should not be placed in custody. It's alleged that you failed to report to your court service officers directed. You failed to pay cost and fees as ordered by the court, and you failed to successfully complete the recommendations of drug alcohol evaluation. You understand the reason for your appearance here today?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Rent, the court does approve the bond that you have posted. In the
Okay.
amount of, it appears $1,000.
Yes, sir.
Sure. It appears to be a cash bond. Is that correct? No, wait.
Yeah. $1,000 cash maturity, Your Honor.
Bombshell bail bonds.
Yes, sir.
Bombshell
Yes,
bail
sir.
bonds.
Okay. Court makes inquiry.
This guy. Is he in like a theater group? It looked like he was sitting on stage with the bright lights above him.
Your Honor, this is another misdemeanor.
Yes. The court, are you currently employed, Mr. Rent?
No, sir, Your Honor. I have a disability claim. I had a pretty bad heart attack back in August.
The court does appoint Darren Patterson to represent all stages of the proceedings. Darren Patterson appointed to represent you all stages of the proceedings.
Yes, sir.
That's your next appearance date on warrant show cause docket before Judge Webster, Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. Monday, July
Okay.
11, 2022 at 9 a.m. Before Judge Webster. You do need to be present at that time.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
In the interim, the court does order you to report to your probation officer as directed by your probation officer.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after the hearing today, I do order that you call your probation officer, set up an appointment with your probation officer.
Okay, I was just texting while we were on here. He just inquired, and I told him I got through to the meeting because I was kind of worried about it. Thank you,
Bishop
though.
School of Broadcasting. Yes.
Anything further, Mr. Castillo?
No, Your Honor, except for one thing, with the court's new rules, does he have to appear in person at Sally Port?
This guy.
Yes. Yes. You need to appear in
On
person.
July 11th. Your Honor, are you talking about on July 11th?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I was gonna come down there today, but my PO told me that I could call the district court and get the Zoom link, so that's why I didn't come down today.
That's fine. You need to be present July 11 at the Sally Port, 9 a.m. Monday.
Every time I look at Moto, she looks like she's in a
Court's in
photo.
recess.
Thank you.
Moto
Yes.
photo. He's at work right now.
I'll get out of
Babe, don't
me
show
out.
me. Don't show me.
Get me out.
Get me out. Hello, young lady. How
State
are you?
versus Gary Gale Armstrong.
Is that her?
Gary Gale Armstrong.
Gary? Is that you?
I show no appearance.
She is very tired from toting around her bosoms all day. Georgia coming in hot with the big $5
And
dono.
recommended
Hallelujah.
bond on a warrant.
Your Honor, the state's going to request that this be a $2,000 cash surety bond.
That'll be the order of the court.
Just getting up and getting the full body.
Court is in recess. Court sees no appearance by Mr. Armstrong on the Zoom hearing or at the Sally Port
No.
at the judicial building.
Pretty sure it's a
Court's
Band-Aid.
in
at this point.
recess. Next case is State of Kansas versus Jake Connor Cortez.
She got some scratches on her arm too. Jake, wake up. It's your turn, bud.
And Mr. Cortez. Court does note that Mr. Pate has entered his appearance on your behalf.
I'm a
And
sucker for
announcements to
tattoos.
the court, Mr. Pate.
Your Honor,
on a lady.
I would just ask we set this for a misdemeanor control setting. I don't believe he had to post bond on this. I think there was just a summons, so I would ask the court allow him to stay out on an OR bond.
Court grants the motion for OR bond. Court sets bond in the amount of $1,000 OR. And court sets this next before Judge Webster, Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. before Judge Webster.
And I heard the conversation with the last case. Will he need to appear at the Sally Port, or can he still go to my office or from his home?
He can appear at your office or at the Sally Port.
The price is
Okay.
right.
Your office or the Sally
Good to
Port.
see you, Captain Trips.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Don't forget, in
And
just about an hour,
anything further, Mr. Castillo?
Florida Friday.
No, Your
all
Honor.
Florida chases, all
Court is
Florida
in
news
recess.
stories, all
Thank you.
Florida all day. Nice rack. Yummy. She does not look pretty. pregnant.
State of Kansas versus Jennifer Elaine Moore.
She's just thick.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Ms. Moore. You are charged by way of information. Count 1, on or about February 13, 2022 in Butler County, Kansas with possession of methamphetamine, a level 5 drug felony. Count 2, same date and location, possession of marijuana, class B, non-person misdemeanor. Count 3, same date, location, possession of paraphernalia for use, a class B, non-person misdemeanor. Those are the charges pending against you. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the right to counsel if you cannot afford an attorney. One would be appointed to represent you. Are you currently employed?
No, no, Your Honor.
How long has it been since you worked?
About a year.
A year?
Court finds you do not have financial wherewithal for retaining an attorney. Court appoints Jim Watts to represent you at all stages of the proceedings. Jim Watts is appointed to represent you at all stages of the proceedings.
Me?
Court sets your next appearance date before Judge Satterfield on Monday, June 13, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. Monday, June 13, 2022 at 2:30 p.m.
What
before
is this
Judge
marbles?
Satterfield.
Okay.
You need to appear at the Butler County Judicial Center.
Don't forget, we got a
Sally
members
Port.
only today. We're going to probably go to 6 p.m. 6 p.m. So
And
look for that.
court needs to
Angela.
set
Expect to be
appropriate
there.
bond. What is your current address?
527 Hauser Drive.
That's El Dorado.
Yes.
And how long have you lived there?
2 years.
Do you have any family that reside in Butler County?
My mom,
Your mother's name and address?
Carol Moore, and she lives with me.
Thank you, Miss Moore. Based on the appearance here today and representations to the court, any objection to the court granting an OR bond, Mr. Castillo?
No, Your Honor, we were going to ask for a $5,000 OR bond.
And the court does order $5,000 OR bond, $5,000 OR bond.
You have a bay.
Okay, your
you should have
next
a
date has
bay.
been set before Judge Satterfield, Monday, June 13, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. And you do need to be present at the Sally Port that day.
Okay.
Any other matters, Mr. Castillo?
No, Your Honor.
Court is in recess. And Miss Moore, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you.
Yeah, this lady. I mean, these are small town. This is a small town of Kansas right here. You can tell. Not a lot happening.
And State of Kansas versus Paige Nicole Perez. Paige Nicole Perez.
Is this Nicole? Oh, here we go.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Ms. Perez, you are charged by way of information. Count 1, possession of controlled substance. That would be a psilocybin mushrooms, class A, non-person misdemeanor. Count 2, you're charged, same date and location, possession of marijuana, class B, non-person misdemeanor. Count 3, same date and location, possession of paraphernalia for use, class
No.
B, non-person misdemeanor. Ms. Perez, do you understand the charges pending against you?
Yes, I do.
That is not what
Perez,
lines
you
up
have the right to
Texas mama.
counsel. If you cannot afford an attorney, one would be appointed to represent you. Are you currently employed?
No, I was just recently working, but due to transportation, I had issues with that. So I'm now trying to find another job.
Based on your unemployed status, court finds you do not have financial wherewithal retaining attorney at this time. The court does appoint Darren Patterson
Small town
to
strip club,
represent you
maybe.
at all stages of the proceedings. Darren Patterson is appointed to represent you at all stages of the proceedings. Subsequently, the court sets your next appearance date, Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. Monday, July 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. before Judge Webster by Zoom. The court does order you to appear at the Butler County Judicial Building, Sallyport at 9 a.m. Monday, July 11, 2022.
Sally's got something to
One
say.
moment, Your Honor. I believe Deputy wanted to mention something.
Did they need to go up to the jail to be processed?
I'm showing that this individual was arrested and booked in on November 21st. I don't know if you're able to link that booking with this case being filed, because we didn't file at the time she was arrested. We were waiting for KBI results.
Okay.
All right, we'll have to figure that out. I'd like to try that out.
So do I need to order Ms. Perez out to the jail?
Please.
I'll leave it up to the deputy. I don't know how much effort goes into trying to find these booking sheets and link them to the cases filed.
Probably should.
Ms. Perez, the court does order you to go to the Butler County Jail. And you do need to sign. And the bond, once again, the recommended, the bond is how much, Mr.
Sure wants to
Castillo?
party.
Did I order that already?
You have not, Your Honor, and the state would be requesting $2,000 own recognizance.
And the court does order a $2,000 on your own recognizance bond. You do need to report to the Butler County Jail.
Right now?
Before 5 o'clock today.
Okay.
And I actually just got word that she does not now.
You do not need to report. Apparently, the Butler County Jail has whatever information they needed from you.
Okay.
To do that.
Do you
We'll do
remember
that.
your next hearing date and time?
July
Yeah,
11th.
You druggy? You
What
remember?
time?
9 o'clock. And you need to come to the Butler County Judicial Center.
You're back just in time for me to leave power
Okay.
stroke. I've stayed for overtime. today. I'm
Anything
getting out of
further?
here.
No. All right. So I don't need to go. I don't need to go today.
Nope.
You do not. You do not
Okay,
need to go today. That is correct.
Okay. All right. July 11th.
Court is in recess.
I'll have to figure that out. I'm gonna look more into it. We're gonna definitely do that. Jeanette, thank you so much over there on the Facebook, keeping things done. We appreciate everybody. I will golfer. Yay. Oh, look at the judge checking himself out. Oh boy. We'll just put that there for the moment because we're leaving out of here. Jake was my brother. Of course he was. He was damn handsome. I appreciate you guys being here today. Had a great time. If you would, please give it a thumbs up. Go back, watch some of our old streams. We've got all kinds of stuff. If you like small town courts, we got tons of that on there. Voice. You want to go back and watch some of our old stuff. Just ruined her weekend. She don't have to go now. She's good. She's good. They're letting her go. They're gonna let her roll. Let her out. Everything's good. So yeah. That was a nice young lady coming through there, being a good girl. We'll have to. I want to look into this marbles thing. We'll probably get it done maybe on a weekend or something. Or do we have to do it on a certain day? I don't know. Leave a like if you would. It's almost 100. We'd appreciate that. Let's YouTube know, hey, these guys are doing something, and they recommend us, the new people, so our family can grow with more and more and more and more. So be back here at 4:05 for we got a Chase Florida Friday. Make sure you're there for that. Is there anything else I need to remember?
Drunk as a skunk.
No, that definitely wasn't it. What was
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Maybe Creed will be there. Who knows? Anything is possible. Members only tonight at 6 p.m. Be there for that. We'll have a good time. If you're looking for some great show merch, make sure you go out and pick up your Keep Calm and Stay Level 1 Outstanding shirts right there from our merch, exclamation point, merch. Nightbot will let you know. Also, there's all kinds of information in the descriptions. Yada, yada, yada. Until next time, kids, please remember. Vinny, I was going to do it later, but I want to go ahead and knock it on out at 6 p.m. I do apologize for any confusion. I did have something I needed to do, and now I don't. So, yeah. Don't worry, Vinny. There'll be some stuff on Saturday, too. I'll be working hard on Saturday. Bye, guys.